Hey mama, welcome. I'm Naomi, and today I want to show you a few things that you can do on your yoga mat to reduce some of that unpleasant leg cramping that you might be getting in your pregnancy. So generally speaking, if you're going to have leg cramps, they usually start later in your second trimester and in your third trimester as your belly starts to pull you a little bit more forward, which will create an external rotation of your hips. And if you're not sure what that means, I'll show you really quickly. So as your belly goes forward and out in front of you, your feet will start to turn out a little bit, and you might start to waddle a little and lead with your belly. And that turning out quality puts a lot of strain on the muscles of your inner thighs, fronts of your thighs, outer hips, and even your calves and ankles. And so that's what creates the cramping that you might get in your legs, in your outer hips, and all the way down into your calves. Okay, so I want to show you just a few things that you can do on your yoga mat to help reduce some of that cramping or to relieve some of the cramping when it comes up. So to help out today, I have a couple of props. I have a chair, I have a blanket, I have 2 blocks. You might not need all of them, but definitely you will need a chair. If you don't have a folding chair, you can do this on any chair. If it doesn't have like a back, if it has an open back, that's awesome. You can also do this on a couch. You can do some of the things we're doing against a wall, but if you have a chair, that is going to be your number one asset for support for this particular video, okay? So all that said, let's get started. So take a wide stance, turn your feet slightly out. Okay, now I know I just said, oh, but this turning out is actually what's creating some of the cramping. That's true. But what we're going to do for the first pose is just a wide-legged squat that will not only help tone your pelvic floor, but give you a little bit more leg strength and give you the opportunity to work some of that internal rotation that's going to help your inner thighs. Okay, so bend your knees, lower your hips, and lift up. And think of this less. You can keep going. Less is bending your knees and more just hips go down, hips go up. Hips go down, hips go up. Hips go down, hips go up, just a few times. Okay, now if you feel a little off balance, you can do this with your chair. Holding on to the back of your chair, hips go down, hips go up. Okay, so if you need that support, make sure that you have it. Right, hips go down and up, just a few times. Whew. Okay. And then the next time you find yourself with your hips down, all I want you to do is turn your right foot in so your heel goes back. Turn your left foot slightly out. Okay, then turn your left toes back in, your right heel back in, so you come back to where you started, and then go the other direction. Take your left heel out, right foot slightly out. Okay, and then repeat that. Turn your right foot slightly in, left toe slightly out, and go again to the first side. So right heel will go back, thigh goes in, left foot goes slightly out. Okay, and then repeat that. Left foot goes slightly in, right heel in, toes out. Left heel out, so your left thigh rotates in, right foot goes slightly out, and then repeat that just a few more times. So you're going to always come back to this wide-legged squat as you take your right heel back, left foot slightly out. Okay. Left heel out, turn your right foot forward. Okay, a few more times. So you come back to center, right heel out, left toes out. Okay, back to center, left heel back. So you rotate your left thigh in, right foot out, and just one more time. Right foot slightly in. So you come into your squat, heel out, left foot out. Back to center, last time. Left heel out, so you turn your toes slightly in. Right foot out, so it kind of looks like you're in warrior 2. And then back to center, hips go down, hips go up, and just heel toe your legs together for a sec. Give them a little shake. Just a little shake. Okay, now part of the reason that you're doing that, again, is to create that internal rotation that's going to help you so that as you're walking, your legs are going forward instead of going out. Okay, starting with out just gives you the ability to turn in and out. Okay, so now that you've done that, I'm going to turn around my chair so I can hold a little bit more easily to it. I want it to be nice and stable, and I want to be a little bit far away from it. Okay, again, this one you can do at the wall if you don't have a chair. Lift your right leg up, roll it out to the side, forward and up again. So it doesn't have to go very far. And again, yes, you are turning your leg out, but also then turning it back in. So this is just creating a little bit more mobility for your hip. Okay. And go the other direction. And then just swing a little bit forward and a little bit back. You don't have to lift your knee very high out in front of you, just forward and back. And then step your right leg up. Step your left foot back slightly. Okay, hands still on the chair. Bend your right knee so your left heel comes up, and then straighten your right leg. Okay, you're going to do this a few more times. Bend your right knee and straighten your right leg. Bend your right knee. Straighten your right leg and lift the ball of your foot away from the floor. Bend your knee. Straighten your leg, ball of your foot away from the floor. So you're just on the back of your heel. Bend your knee. Straighten your leg, foot away from the floor. One more time, bend your knee. Straighten your leg and stay there and just turn your thigh in and out. Now you might need to bend your knee a little bit to do this. That's okay. It might feel a little funny on your heel. That is also okay. And your left leg will very likely be moving. So turn your foot in and out. And again, my leg bends a little bit when I do this. So just know that yours very likely will too. And that is just fine. Okay, so you're pivoting on your heel a little here. And then come back to center. Step up and switch sides. So again, you want to back up just a little bit. Lift your left knee up, take it out to the left, turn your knee forward, sweep it behind you so your knee tucks in, bring it forward again. And just go a few more times here. Okay, making circles with your hips. I'm leaning on the chair really just so that I don't have to do this upright without support. You certainly can. Go the other direction. You absolutely can do this if you would like without the support of a chair. It just lessens the work that you're going to do with your hips. Back to center, step your left foot forward. Right leg back just a little bit. So I recommend using the chair just so that you don't have to focus on balance so much, but so that you can work your hips specifically. Okay, bend your right or left knee rather, and then straighten your left leg. Bend your left knee, straighten your leg. Bend your left knee, straighten your leg. Bend your left knee, and as you straighten your left leg, lift the ball of your foot away from the floor. Bend your left knee, straighten your leg. Bend your left knee, straighten your leg, ball of your foot away from the floor. One more time, bend your knee, straighten your leg, and then you can bend your knee again just a little, but turn your left foot in and out. So it's pretty extreme. I say extreme, it's not that extreme, right? But it's a big turn in of your thigh. Your back leg will be affected too. Just keep going in and out. Okay? Okay, and then coming back to center, bend your left knee, step up, and turn your chair around. Or, if you have to, I'm turning my chair around. You could just walk to the other side of it. Okay, now, step your right foot out in front of you. Put your left foot up on the chair. Okay, hands at your hips, and you can scoot your right foot a little bit forward so you have space. Bend your right knee. So you should get some serious extension through your left leg and straighten. If you need support, put your hand on a wall. Okay, make sure to turn your left thigh in as much as you can. Bend your right knee. Oh, yeah. And straighten. Bend your knee. And straighten. Bend your knee. And straighten. So you're bending your right knee. Your left leg is just sort of doing its thing. Straighten. Bend your knee. And straighten. Okay, last time, bend your knee. Oh, yeah. And then straighten. Wiggle your right foot back in carefully. And switch legs. Okay, so take your right foot and your shin onto your chair. Scoot your left foot a little bit forward, mostly so that when you bend your knee, like if you're too far back, you're going to go past your ankle, past your knee, and it's just not going to feel as good. So you have to wiggle your left foot a little bit forward. Turn your right thigh in as much as you can. Bend your left knee. Straighten. Again, I have my hand on a wall. You don't have to. Bend your knee and straighten. But it feels really good to have support. Bend your left knee. Straighten. A few more times. Bend your knee. Keep turning your thigh in. And straighten. Bend your left knee. And straighten. Bend your knee. And straighten. 2 more times. Bend your left knee. And straighten. Last time, bend your left knee. Straighten your left leg, wiggle it back in just a little, and step off. Okay? And then turn around to face your chair again. Okay? And you're going to do something really similar to what you just did, and I'm going to turn the chair around so I can hold onto the back of it again. You don't need to do this with support, but you can back it up just a little bit. Okay? Hands on your chair or on a wall. Okay? Step your left or your right foot rather behind you. Top of your foot on the floor. Bend your left knee a little bit so you're getting a really big stretch through the top of your foot. And then straighten and roll over the top of your foot so you reach back through your heel. Okay, bend your left knee, roll over the top of your foot. Okay, and then straighten and roll over again so you reach your heel toward the floor. Bend your left knee, roll over the top of your right foot. And then straighten both legs and reach your right heel toward the floor. Okay, one more time. Bend your left knee, roll over the top of your foot, and then straighten, reach your heel toward the floor. Okay, then balance on your left leg, bend your right knee, reach for your right foot, and extend your thigh back. So really kick your foot into your hand. It's not about doing a deep back bend, it's more about stretching through the front of your thigh. So just lengthen here. Good, and then let that go and switch sides. So take your left foot behind you, top of your foot on the floor, bend your right knee, and straighten both legs, roll over the top of your left foot, reach your heel toward the floor. Bend your knee, your right knee, roll over the top of your foot, and then straighten both legs, reach your heel toward the floor. Bend your right knee, roll over the top of your foot, and then straighten both legs, reach your left heel toward the floor. One more time. Bend your right knee, roll over the top of your foot, straighten both legs, heel toward the floor, and then push into your right leg, bend your left knee, keep your right hand on the chair, and just think about extending down through your left thigh and back. Take a full breath in here. Full breath out. And then let that go. And you can walk away from your chair. The last thing that we're going to do is either with blanket or with blocks, depending on what you need. So you're going to come on down to kneeling. Now this is actually one of my very favorites. Okay, you might need support underneath your hips, you might not. There are a couple of options. Option 1 is to grab a blanket, fold it over, point your feet straight back, and you want your feet to be lined up with the blanket just a little so that you can sit back and get your hips on the blanket. Okay, now this is really great for smashing your calves right? Giving yourself a little bit of support here. And we'll start here. We're going to do another variation, but this is sort of the beginning, okay? Now lift your hips up, grab your blanket or towel. If you don't have a blanket, that's fine. And you're going to roll it up into a tight little roll. And you're going to come back to that same position, but instead, place the blanket as far back behind your knees as you can, tops of your feet down, and sit on your blanket. Okay? This might not be the most comfortable thing you do for your calves, but it's going to help release some of the buildup of lactic acid in your calves, some of the tension that's there. So particularly, again, as your belly gets bigger and pulls you forward, the tendency to hyperextend or lock your knees is pretty great, particularly if you're standing a lot. Okay, that can put a lot more pressure on your calves and just make them a little bit more tense. This releases some of that tension, which is also why it doesn't feel awesome. And you can stay here for as long as you want. I'm only going to keep you here for another few seconds. Okay. One of my teachers calls this calf smashing, and I think it's completely accurate. Okay, lift your hips up. And then you can try that same pose we did at first without the blanket or with a block, and I'll show you both ways. So knees are about as wide apart as your hips, toes point straight back, and your hips go down. Okay. Now, if your hips go down easily, if you want a little bit more stretch through the front of your body, you can walk your hands back and give your chest a little bit of a lift. If your hips don't go all the way down to the floor, you can grab your block, place the block in between your hips, and you can do that same walk back if your arms are long enough. You might not be able to get that same length, so you might have to press your hands into your feet and lift your chest. But ultimately, you're still going to get that smashing quality of your calves. So either way, you're going to be good. You can also use the blanket if you prefer the blanket. But I'm going to remove this just for one more. Ooh, and then lift yourself back up. Place yourself into a table pose on your hands and knees. And just extend one leg back, reach through your heel. Bring that leg back in, no matter which one it was. Extend the other leg back or reach through your heel. And then bring it back in. And you can sit or stretch or do whatever else you need because you are done. Okay, those are some phenomenal poses to just bring a little bit of circulation to your legs, a little bit of movement to your legs, to stretch your body in ways that it might not be getting stretched or moved during your pregnancy, that should help relieve some of that tension or just strain that is occurring that's creating some of the cramps in your legs, your hips, hopefully not in your low back, but possibly there as well. Okay, now before we go, I would be remiss if I didn't say some of the other things that you can do that can help prevent leg cramping is just making sure you're getting enough water, making sure you have enough electrolytes in your body, right? So, increasing that with drinking more coconut water or increasing your magnesium, right? You can do that by taking Epsom salt baths, which are really fantastic for relieving cramping in your legs and in your hips, increasing your potassium, hello bananas, right? Those are some other things you can do. And just in general, keeping your body moving and a little bit more active throughout the day. I know pregnancy is exhausting, but if you can get yourself moving, even just for 5 minutes at a time, that can reduce the amount of cramps that you might have in your legs and in your hips for the rest of your pregnancy. So I hope this has been useful. Let me know what you think of these exercises in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in and for taking care of yourself during your pregnancy through movement. I very much enjoyed sharing these with you. My legs feel awesome right now, and I hope that yours do too. So thank you so much for hanging out with me on your yoga mat, and I look forward to doing more yoga with you really soon. Until then, bye.